What's up, Conference USA fans, and welcome back to another episode of the CUSA Insider Podcast, the official podcast of Conference USA. I'm your host, Jessica Radford, and we have a little new setup right now, a little new introduction. Eric Jones, of course, is always joining me, and we have a special guest on today's episode. We got Associate Commissioner of Basketball, Clifton Douglass, in the room today to discuss all the craziness things that is going on at CUSA Hoops. I have to ask you, Cliff, just to start off, all of our teams are still in tournament contention still. Just like this season has been so competitive, both on the men's and women's side. So what does that mean for Conference USA this year?
That means not just for this year, but this weekend is going to be amazing. A lot of competition, a lot of great action in Conference USA on the men's and the women's side. But a lot of pressure on these players and these coaches as well. So I think it's what we anticipated. We're very used to parity in our league. But for it to go down to the last weekend is definitely bringing some extra excitement this year.
I think the tournament will be so fun this year. I'm excited for it next week, and that is so crazy to say. Oh, I also want to give a shout out to this beautiful ball that we have on set. I made it personally, so if you want one, it's $500. But
it's been like a whole 2-month project, and it's finally nice seeing it come to light.
I can only work on it on Thursdays because the week is so busy, but we finally got it done. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of things. We could talk about some little scenario possibles. Isn't it always hard when we're talking about two games? It gets a little easier once we get past Wednesday, Thursday. But let's start on the men's side. We already know that Liberty is our number one seed, but after that, what's happening?
Yes, Liberty is the only team that has clinched a seed as of right now. Congratulations to them, Coach McKay, outright conference champs for the second straight year. They've had an incredible season. Almost had another loss there against Jack State, but had a big win on the road after losing 2 straight. I think, they're obviously a very talented team, and we know that. They're an experienced team, but seeing them go through this maybe has been a little bit good for them, this little skid that they've been on. But getting a win and then getting 2 wins this week is huge for them, especially going into tournament play when you're playing for your season at that point. So our number one seed, Liberty, and then you look at the top of our standings right now, too. You got Sam Houston, WKU, Kennesaw State, all winners of 4, 5, and 6 games in a row. These teams are playing with their hair on fire right now. They're playing really good basketball. It's the time of the year that you want to be doing that. So excited to see. They none of those teams have clinched a spot yet either. A seed, sorry, they've clinched a spot. But yeah, and then we go a little further down there. We got 3 teams, 9-9, La Tech, Middle, and Jack State. And then after that, we have 5 teams fighting for 3 spots. So definitely some fun scenarios this week. Yeah.
Cliff, do you want to expand on that a little bit for men's basketball scenarios?
No, I think Eric did a great job of kind of breaking down where we are as a conference right now. Of course, with us having a 10-team tournament this year, we have 7 spots that have been clinched, not knowing what those seeds will be yet. But again, the last 5 schools now fighting for those last 3 spots. Like I said, it's going to be an exciting weekend. A lot of tie-breaking scenarios have been tossed around. And to be honest with you, they just make your head hurt at this point because who knows what's going to happen on any given night. Hopefully we have a little bit more clarity after Thursday. But definitely a lot of back and forth this season, as you have Liberty, of course, was picked to win the season this year. Kennesaw was picked to finish second. Of course, we know they've had a lot of ups and downs throughout the season, but they are also still in striking distance of that 3rd spot as well.
I just want to talk about some games this past week. Just give us some, exciting news that really propel teams to go up in our standings or really clinch a spot for just a tournament spot in general.
Yeah, I think for Kennesaw State's sake, I think going into the week, being on home court against Liberty, a team that, was coming off of the loss, their first loss of league play, I think that was a huge game to look at and a big win for Kennesaw State. I felt like they controlled that game from the tip. And they kind of separate. Now, I know they're only 1 game apart from that 9-9 threshold, but they kind of separated themselves there and leapfrog those 9-9 teams in that potential tiebreaker scenario. Because, you look, those teams are all 1, 2, 3 games apart there. Any given weekend, that can flip-flop. You can go from a 3 seed to down to a 7 or 8 seed, and just like that. So I think that was a huge game for them. And obviously they've won 4 straight. So for them to have a good week at home was big time. But I got it, like, WKU right now is playing incredible basketball. Ever since getting Tegan Moore back in the lineup, I think he's scored 20 plus in each of those 5 games since coming back. They've been scoring in, I think, the last 3 games. They've scored 90 plus points as a team. They've been blowing out teams on the road and at home. So I think they are the hottest team in the league right now. I don't think anyone wants to be playing a team at that caliber. They have a bunch of playmakers. Tegan Moore, we talk about Armella Boone too, as a freshman. Has been playing really well this year. But then I think, looking at Sam Houston too, what they did on CBS the other night against FIU, I mean, made a big statement. They put up triple digits, won 100-67 against a pesky FIU team. But I think it's one of the more, finished lineups when you go from guard play to bigs that we have in this league, and a bunch of vets on that team, bunch of, seniors, graduate students, all newcomers too, really. So they're a fun group to watch. I think they're finally gelling. I want to say they've won 12 of the last 13 games. Sam Houston, they started off league play 0-3. It seems like forever ago, but that did happen, and it's looking at them now at 13-5. Chris Mudge has done an incredible job with that group. So, there's a lot that can play out there in the middle of the pack. But I'm excited to see how those last 5 teams kind of all come together there. Potentially, we were talking about right before this, they could all technically finish at 7-13, which would leave a 5-way tie for those last 3 spots, which we don't necessarily want to see.
Nobody's looking forward to those scenarios.
No, but it's real and it could happen. So, but yeah, as for last week though, I think those are the big games and the fun games to watch. Sam Houston had a close one at home. Everyone needs a close game here and there. I think it preps you for tournament play because you never know what's going to happen on a neutral court. So exciting stuff this last week. Looking forward to this week. And the standings are, up there for anyone.
Cliff, I have to ask you, just being a former basketball player of yourself, if you are like a Sam Houston player, WKU, or Kennesaw State, who unfortunately don't play each other because that helped that number 2 seed decision out a little bit, what is your mindset going into this weekend?
Survive and advance. I think at this point, everybody likes the Jimmy V quote. But at this point, every game is a tournament game. I think everything's on the line. You got to leave it all on the court because you not only do you want to make it to your conference tournament, you also want to put yourself in the best situation from a seeding standpoint. Because a lot is going to go into that when you're talking about tournament time in another week, right? So we're going to have those matchups that take place on Tuesday. And then also the winner of those 2 matches coming in to play the 1 and 2, who, if you all remember as well, the team that advances from those matchups will have the day off on Thursday to come back for the semis on Friday. So seeding is very important when you're talking about tests, rest time after the tournament starts, but then also just making sure that, people are healthy and ready for postseason as well.
And we talked about games, good games last week. What are some games to watch for this weekend?
Yeah, I'm really looking to see how, I think probably one of the tougher road trips, Sam Houston this weekend. They're going to Delaware. Again, this Delaware team has playmakers. They got Christian Lewis, they got Justin Fernandez. They can sneak out a win here and there. So I know Sam Houston will not take them lightly. But then they go play at Liberty. And I think this is probably, possibly a championship game preview coming in the last week of the season, last game of this regular season. I think it'll be a really fun one to watch. Haven't played each other in a while. They played early on in the season. Liberty got the win on the road in Huntsville, Texas. I'm looking at Sam Houston's trip on the road this week. And then I think, WKU's got a tough one too, going that FIU Missouri State trip. So I think those 4 games I'm looking at closely for this week. Yeah.
We talk about all this timing on the men's side. Let's flip over to the women's side. And I think it's just as crazy as the men's. Just like Liberty clinched the #1 seed on the men's side, Louisiana Tech has clinched the #1 seed on the women's side. They are at a 15-game winning streak. And Cliff, I have to ask you, you've seen Brooke Storer in action for multiple years, but what do you think about this team that is different this year?
I think Brooke is trying to make a statement, to be honest. I think what she's done, and of course, a great coach, she's done well in the past. But this team just seems a little bit more motivated this year. I think they started off conference play 0-1, and I think since then they have gone on a tear. So it's been really fun to watch them play. Everything she's done on the court, but she's got some very talented student athletes that she's put out there on the court, and they're playing very well together. And I think that's obvious when you look at where they are in the standings, that they've earned their spot in the tournament for sure.
Definitely earned their spot. Then we go down to our next spot. Ooh, all are tied right now. FIU, Missouri State, Middle. They are all tied at 10-6. And I think that's just a testament to our league right now, because you talked about, the preseason standings or preseason poll for men's. Louisiana Tech was voted to be #1. Liberty was second. Middle was third. And Missouri State was 4. So just the simple fact that Missouri State and Middle is right now even in contention to be second. And just based off our preseason poll, I think it's amazing. Even FIU, Jessica Burks-Wiley, have been amazing this year with her team just sitting at. And unlike the men's for the #2 seed, FIU and Missouri State both play Middle this weekend. So that shook up a little bit with that scenario a little bit. But hey, you just never know, especially with teams splitting. Or WKU right now is on a winning streak. They unfortunately just lost to Liberty on Saturday, but I don't really think that will deter them just a little bit. I think that they found momentum at the right moment, and that could really be a testament to if they're going to get into this tournament or not, because they definitely need to win these next 2 games in order to do that. Unfortunately, they have to see UTEP and New Mexico State, how they play this weekend as well. But just the simple fact that even on both sides, all teams are in contention for the tournament just says that this season is really good, and just our teams are going to grow from this. You can only go up from here. I think you can really not deter or decrease from this season. But Cliff, do you have any, scenarios that you want to touch on for women's basketball specifically?
Again, Jessica, this is a very dangerous league when you're looking at standings. Just like on the men's side, we only have 1 seed clinched. Just like on the men's side, you have 7 teams that have already clinched a spot in the tournament. So you have the bottom 5 teams fighting for those last 3 spots. So a lot of similarities. So a lot of exciting basketball to watch. For me, I'm definitely watching that 2 seed spot. So all these scenarios that you're looking at right now, FIU, Missouri State, Middle Tennessee, and Liberty as well. All of those teams could potentially find themselves a little bit higher in the standings. And I think it's going to be exciting to watch. I'm curious to see what Thursday holds and to see if our heads are hurting as much on Friday, trying to get ready for these Saturday matchups as well. But can't wait to kind of get these bracket conversations going as we lock these seeds out.
I just want to touch on a couple games from last week that happened, and I think this just really propelled Missouri State even into this #2 seed contention, because they won out last weekend. They had that 60-55 win over Sam Houston, and then on Thursday they had a massive win over FIU, and they won that one. I can't even find this. It was 69-38, and we all know, I always talk about, it's that player of the year, that battle with Missouri State and FIU. You've had Kaden Deckemeyer, who's just absolutely a monster for Missouri State, and Rima Collins, and even Paris Atkins right now is making a name for herself just in conference play as far as her stats wise. So when you have 2 beasts or potentially 3 beasts going like that against each other, that was a really good game. But it was surprising for Missouri State to even win that much. But I mean, hey, FIU had to travel to Missouri State, and that was their lone game of the week. But, I think it's still just a testament to Missouri State, because it was on a little downward of a spell they had during conference play, but then they picked that up. That was their, they're on a 3-game winning streak right now, and they definitely need that heading into this weekend. But that was a good week for Missouri State. Liberty also had an amazing week. They won against Middle Tennessee 65-37. That was a rematch of our championship game. But they had Middle Tennessee at home. They got that one. And then they had WKU, which was a closer game for this one, because like I said, WKU is fighting for that tournament spot at this point. But that was a 60-54 win. Avery Mills is back in the lineup. She was, out for a couple games, but I think her being back in is really helping them just establish that system that they had before. But Emmy Styles still doing amazing for them. They have a freshman that's doing well, Ify. If I mispronounce her name, I'm so sorry. But hey, she is our freshman of the week this week. She's just putting up big numbers, especially when she gets in for them. So I think Liberty's also finding their foot in. It was slipping a little bit, but I think this week would for sure solidify them. And they only have one long game this weekend, and it gets Delaware. So Liberty can either finish 11-7 or 10-8, and that will determine where they are in the seeding. But if I was Liberty, of course, we know that they want that 11-7 just overall conference record, so they can be a little higher up in the seeding. Like Clifton said, seeding is very, very important. But those are just two teams I think deserves a really big shout out. I mean, even Jack State and Kennesaw, they went 1-1 this weekend, and that really helped their standings as well. Especially Jack State, they're at 8-9 right now, and they only have one lone game against Kennesaw. So that'll definitely determine where they're at in the seeding standpoint. But same thing on the men's side, some games to watch this week. I literally think FIU and Middle Tennessee for sure. I think FIU and Missouri State's both. They're both traveling to Kentucky and to where is Middle Tennessee at?
Murfreesboro.
Tennessee. It literally left mine. So, but
Just a little bit south of Nashville.
100 miles ahead. I couldn't think of it. I'm like, yes,
It's been that type of week so far.
Exactly. When you're going through 100 scenarios, you see how your brain is after all it is. But that FIU's Middle on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. I'll definitely have my eye out for Delaware at Liberty on Friday. 6 p.m. We have a weird game this week on Friday. Wow. As if on ESPN Plus. And then again, that Missouri State and Middle Tennessee game on Saturday, 2 p.m. Central. I think those are definitely some games to watch. Cliff, anything else you want to touch on for this year's basketball before conference play is over?
Tune in, everybody. Tune in. Conference USA basketball is exciting. Whether you're looking to care for the men's teams, the women's teams,
better be both.
Plenty of action this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You don't want to miss out. And we'll see you in Huntsville.
If you're traveling to Huntsville next week, definitely safe travels to you. We'll all be there. So if you do see us, don't be scared to say hi. I think we'll have this on display, so if you do want to take a photo out with it, please do, okay? But don't drop it, because if it comes back to me with Jules missing, I'll be exceptionally mad.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hey, that's all for basketball today. We don't have top plays on. It was like I'm forgetting something. But don't worry, they'll still be on socials this week, so check it out. All right, thanks, Clifton Douglass, for joining us on today's episode. Now we got all the tiebreakers out. We got all of the games from last week out of the way. Let's talk about Superlative Awards on the men's and the women's side. Just me and Eric now. Clifton is gone. Boo. We missed you already. Sad to say. But you already gave us the order of the awards that you wanted to go into. So let's go with sixth player of the year. Who do you think on the men's?
This is definitely like one of my favorite things to do every year is talk through superlatives at this point. But yeah, sixth player. I am looking at three guys right now that I think would be up for this award. I look at Jacob Walker. He's been a beast off the bench, a freshman this year as well. And as of late, Sam Houston's won 5 straight games. They've won 12 of the last 13. Like, this guy has been a crucial part of that team. I think Jacob Walker is a good candidate for it. You look at Scooter Williams at Louisiana Tech. A guy that's been real quiet under the radar name, but has shown out in a few games for La Tech that have been big and are a big reason why that they're right there in the middle of the pack. And then Julian Mackey at FIU, he's been off the bench most of the season. This year, has been up there with Corey Stevenson. That team's a real pesky group in FIU, but as of late, he's had to start some games with the loss of Ashton Williamson. So a guy that I think is up for this award just as much as these other two guys.
I think on the women's side, we got UTEP's Mary Moses Amanino. I mean, she literally rebounds the ball so well. This is a big that you don't want to probably go up against. Because 9 times out of 10, she's probably pulling down that rebound for you, or just blocking you out on shots, right? But she has been just very impactful to the UTEP's team right now. She's averaging 8.3 points and 6.9 rebounds per game. But just she shoots the team best 51.6 from the field. But just as she's impactful, I have to say, Missouri State's Myesha Washington. She's just a freshman, so even if she doesn't get this, I definitely think she has an amazing career ahead, just the breakout season that she's had. I mean, they're neck and neck right there. She's averaging 8.3 points per game and 7.3 rebounds. So they're literally so close. I think just when you think of as a team effort, yes, UTEP is lower on the standings right now, so you really don't hear the name Mary Moses Emanino like that, and you may hear Maisha Washington's name a lot because Missouri State is on top of the standings. Missouri State is on a winning streak right now. But they both are just so impactful to their teams, especially just, defensively. Like, when you want somebody to come off the game and not only score points, but just get rebounds, like, that's what you look for in your player. Like, if I'm calling you off the bench, you need to be producing to the team. And they have done exactly that. So I think it could go either way. Voting is over in a couple of days, so we shall see very, very soon. So that's sixth player of the year. What freshman of the year? I think, I don't know. On the men's side, it's a little.
Yeah, I think we have again. I think there's three guys that I look at. And again, voting is not through yet, so we literally do not know anything yet. But I look at Jacob Walker. He's won freshman of the week last 2 weeks now. He's won 3 on the year. But this guy playing really good basketball, I just talked about him on sixth player award, a bench guy that is up for freshman of the year. It's big time. Then you look at Christian Bliss on a Delaware team that's, on the outside looking in right now in the tournament. But this guy's been a huge piece to this Delaware team, him and Justin Fernandez. We got to interview Justin a few weeks ago and talk about their relationship. I think these guys really play well together, and they got a lot to play for this week, so we'll certainly see how Bliss can catch up with the week as we see it going into tournament play. But when you look at Eric Dabami, he's won freshman of the week a few times. He is a double-double machine for FIU, a big presence down low for them. I believe he averaged double-double this past week too, and it was just short of winning freshman of the week behind Walker. So I think those three guys are probably our top candidates for freshman of the year, so excited to see how it turns out.
On the women's side, freshman of the year, I just have to say it obviously has to be Blair Bogus. And like we said, let us reiterate that voting is not over. This is only our guesses, just for us following every single team, every single person throughout the season, especially during conference play. But Blair Bogus, when you think of a freshman that you want on your team, it is the epitome of Blair Bogus. We already talk about each week. If she's putting up a double-double, 9 times out of 10, Middle Tennessee is winning. She's a 7-time USA Freshman Player of the Week award. And it's just like, she leads all freshmen in the league right now in scoring. She has 12.5 per game. She has a 8.9 rebounds per game in conference play. So it's just like she is putting up great numbers day in and day out. And I think that's just, really good and a testament to what she's doing for Middle Tennessee. Because like I said, if she's producing at a very high level, 9 times out of 10, they're going to win. So I'll be very surprised if Blair doesn't win Freshman of the Year. She is definitely a front runner for me for that one. All right, next we got Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. You talk about, Blair's, you think that she will definitely win that award. You'd be surprised if she doesn't. I would be surprised if Cashinat doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year. This guy has been all over the place. He's such a beast to watch. I love watching him play, fly around the court, getting steals every single night, it seems like. But then he's also, not only on the defensive side, on the offensive side too, he's always having that one big play. We've seen him on top plays a few times. I know this is a defensive award specifically, but that dude is, a big reason why Sam Houston is having so much success on the defensive end of the ball. And it's letting them play offensive pretty freely, pretty open. And I think that's why they're just so confident on the offensive side. So huge shout out to catching that. Other guys, you got Zach Cleveland. Everyone knows that he's just a unicorn on the court. Like, this guy's stuffing the stat sheet every single night, scoring points, rebounding, blocks, steals. You name it. His teammate JJ Harper, kind of an under the radar name. And then Eric Dabami at FIU getting the blocks. Both those guys, 2 underrated names. They've both had really good years defensively. I think personally it'll be Cashinat. But, want to give all 4 of those guys a big shout out. Played really good defensive ball this year.
Just like you think it's about to be Cashinat from Sam Houston, I think on the women's side it's about to be Fonta Kone from Sam Houston. Right now, she is leading the league in steals. I think she leads just Sam Houston in general. She might be climbing up their overall record for steals. So day in and day out, Fonta Kone is literally about to get a couple steals. Her defensive game is just very on point, and it has been ever since, she's been with Raven Justice program, and we already know that Raven Justice has a very defensive-heavy system, and she fits right into that piece because she's getting steals every week. And not only like Cashinat, not only is she getting steals, but she also producing on the offensive side as well. And yes, this is a defensive award, but when you can do both sides of the ball, I mean, that is propelling your team to even have more confidence, like you said, or, just more chance to win. But she is the only player in the league history to lead USA in each category in consecutive seasons. And what's that? Assists and steals. So she's just doing very well for them. And I think she has that one in the bag as well. And that is my only award where I only have one person on the women's side. Our prime is fair.
That is fair.
But like I said, I would be very surprised if she doesn't. I mean, I think we have just defensive beasts on both the men's and the women's. I mean, you always do every year, but I just think it could be up for grabs for anybody, but you just always have those one sticklers that just stick out than the more of the pack. But, all right, that was Defensive Player of the Year. Newcomer of the Year.
This is a really fun one. Going into, or I guess, at the end of last season, we knew we were losing a lot of our top scorers in the league, which is tough. But, it's this day and age in college athletics and who can, overcome that. But going into this year, we got to see the fun part about it is seeing all the newcomers coming into the league. And I will name 3 right here that I think all could win this award. Mustafa El Muta'u.
You got it.
That's all I'm going to say there. I'm going to call him Mo from the rest of the way out here. But Po Boy King, Sam Houston, and Corey Stevenson at FIU, all 3 of these guys have been crucial parts of the success of all of these teams. I think Mo, he's, I believe, leading the league right now in conference play and scoring, about 18, 19 points a game. A lot of the reasons why Jack State's winning games there is because of him. And, he's got good pieces around him, but he was a big pickup this offseason for Coach Harper. I know he's glad to have him around. Po Boy King, again, he's just a graduate student. Just a veteran leader. And you've seen the Sam Houston team just gel over time this year. And I think if we had an all-name or an all-conference name team, however you want to say it, I think Sam Houston would win that with cashing out and Po Boy King, a few other guys too. But then you look at, Corey Stevenson for newcomer of the year as well. He has had some outstanding performances for FIU. I believe he scored over 40 in one of the games. I think he has the most points in a game this season for Conference USA player. So those 4 very good names. Super excited to see how it all turns out. But what do you got?
This won't be the first time you hear this name, but for Newcomer of the Year, I have Rima Collins already as number 1 on my list from FIU. I talk about her just to be in contention for Player of the Year, but we'll get into that a little bit more. But I mean, hey, this girl is she's averaging 17.3 points and 9.1 rebounds per game. What more can you ask out of a player just consistently like that in conference play? I think she is one of the driving forces that FIU is doing so well right now. Of course, you have Paris Atkins, but I think them two and how they play well is just gelling so well together. And yes, Rima Collins might get more points or rebounds each game than Paris Atkins, but I feel like when a team is probably double teaming and Rima can't score that much, then Paris Atkins is stepping up. But Paris Atkins has been just a veteran for FIU in general. But Rima Collins definitely came in and was a crucial piece to FIU's offense and defense this year for sure. So I definitely think she is one of the front runners for that. But I definitely have to give a huge shout out to Elena Contreras at Middle Tennessee. She stepped up big in conference play. I think, she's their only lone senior on the team. So I know she has, a lot of weight as far as leadership, trying to lead this young team that they have this year for Middle. And, usually Middle has a veteran heavy presence, the team. And this year, I think, was one of the off years where they are young. And I think that she probably stepped in that role of leadership, and they may have not shown on the stat sheet as far as numbers and having high scoring games. But I feel like especially this past month, she has really stepped up in crucial moments for them. She got 26 in one game, 24, 22 here and there. So I think just as somebody who's stepping into a role of being the leader and being that lone senior and, guiding this young team into winning these games. And yes, Middle Tennessee's not having the season that they probably hope for, but she's definitely keeping them in the conversation. So just a huge shout out to her, and I think it'll be a neck and neck battle for them. Insanely amazing people there. All right. Coach of the Year. I'm considerate. I want to see what's your game, because you have a lot of contenders for this award.
I think we do too. I look at the 2 guys that are at the top of the league right now. Liberty's Richie McKay, Sam Houston's Chris Mudge. We got to see, Sam Houston won the league a couple of years ago.
And their first year, right, in the league.
First year, 13-3, I believe they went. Last year, down year. And they're right back up there again this year after starting 0-3 in league play too. It's really impressive what they've done. You're looking at them 13-5 now. incredible season they're having. I know they have a very tough non-conference schedule too. They were on the road, I feel like, all through November and December, going up to Oklahoma State, to Utah, Oregon State. They got a win at Oregon State. So a team that I think, and its coach, and Chris Mudge especially, could be very well deserving. Normally you see the team that wins the regular season, a lot of the times that coach will win Coach of the Year. But I think these two coaches, I think it will be neck and neck. And, especially, with Liberty being picked to win the league too, a lot of people look at that and how they, vote. So, but again, Richie McKay, what he's done this year, it's never easy to have so much success from last year that they did.
Yes.
And then to be able to, bring that back, even with the players that he brought back, it's a testament to his coaching staff. So super excited to see how the voting ends up here.
Of course, for me, you gotta give a huge shout out to Brooke Storer. I think what she's done with this team is absolutely amazing. And I say this week in and week out, just watching them play, just the unselfish nature for the team. And you can tell that the team definitely plays for her. And what she's built the team around, just the team chemistry, I think it's amazing to see. You can definitely see it in the way that they play with each other. To go 0-1 and then just be on a 15-game winning streak since you lost that very first conference play game, I think is truly just amazing for them. And then we were talking about that week in and week out. We can't wait for this rematch of, La Tech and Sam Houston. And La Tech got that one over Sam Houston. So I think it's just she's done amazing. She's scheduled really hard for non-conference. And yes, non-conference, they wasn't really in the conversation because they weren't really winning those games and putting up those numbers. But whatever she did during non-conference, it definitely prepared them for conference play. And definitely deserved the nod, especially this year. Amazing year for them. I think they're just breaking records. They have the most conference wins that they had since being in Conference USA right now. So just definitely overstepping milestones for them. But I mean, it's some other coaches that definitely deserve shout outs to. Raven Justice, what she's done this season, to go on a winning streak that they had. Yes, right now they're on a little bit of a losing streak, but they have the potential to finish 11-7. And I think that's really good for Raven Justice, especially for them being in the league. They haven't been at the top of the standings, and this is one of the years they are at the top. And just her defensive-minded game is just really propelling them over these teams that you would be like, wow, they got one off on them. I can't believe it. But when you look at the stat sheet, it's because they caused turnovers. They was getting they were out-rebounding teams. And that's just the nitty-grittiness of this Sam Houston team. So I think Raven Justice definitely deserves a shout-out. And, of course, Beth Cunningham from Missouri State. I think for her being the first year in this league and for you to even be a potential number 2 seed is a testament to what she's been doing at Missouri State, regardless if you were in Conference USA or if you was in the Missouri Valley. She has that winning mindset and that system of what she wants her team to look like. And she brought that from the Missouri Valley into Conference USA, and it is definitely working for her. So I think just amazing, tremendous job for you because it's not easy to switch conferences. You don't know who you're really going up against, and especially when you have new teams like Delaware or just new teams that you haven't even played, even in non-conference. You just never know. So I think she's just done an amazing job this year with her team, and for you to even have a Cayman Beckemeyer, I know she probably loves that kid because she steps up in big moments for her. But what Beth Cunningham has done this year is truly admirable, and I just love that. And for you to even be a potential number 2 seed, I think that also deserves some nods. So that is my coach predictions.
And I think too, like when we talk about coaches, we as folks here at the conference, we don't ever get to see how they travel. I know it's tough league to travel in. You're going to the East Coast, you're going not to the West Coast, but you're going out west for a lot of these teams. And I know, and it's not the easiest to travel to. Sometimes you're catching 3 flights in one trip
or getting delayed for hours.
Yeah. So I think what the staffs do, we appreciate everything that they go through, and I know it's a crazy year, and you look back and it is, goes in a flash, but I think what the coaching staffs can do in those scenarios, and sometimes have to just work on the fly in those crazy situations. So huge shout out to all the coaches.
Especially when you look at the away records, we have a high number of away wins this year. Where I feel like usually it's always, more stronger on the home.
Yeah.
So just kudos to you guys because whatever you guys are doing on those road trips is definitely working. I know team chemistry is really big during those trips as well, and it's working for you guys. So shout out to them. All right. Our last and final award is Player of the Year, and this is always a big one for folks. So who you got?
I got 3 guys again, between 3 guys. You look at Zach Cleveland. I think that's what most people probably expect and will think at this time. moved back a few weeks ago and he hit that buzzer beater to remain undefeated. I think a lot of people were tweeting out, that might have been his player of the year moment. It was a big time clutch play on the road against a team that had fought with them all year long. So, and he's not going to wow you, especially numbers wise. He's not going to wow you even in like person. He's not like that physical, huge, like this guy, but he is certainly a great part of this Liberty team that's 16-2 right now in league play. I think he's probably the front runner for player of the year. But I do think Mo Mustafa from Jack State, I think he's got a really good shot too. Numbers show it. He's averaging a ton of points a game, almost 20 points a game right now, leading the league in league play, I believe. And this guy is playing well, playing at a very high level for his team. But then you look at Tegan Moore,
who made an amazing comeback. Also just straight off.
I'm super excited to see him back in the lineup. We talked about him a little bit earlier. But this guy, ever since coming back from injury, has scored over 20 points in all 5 of those games. And you're seeing WKU just absolutely beat down teams right now. So I know I missed some time, but, some voters may think, hey, this guy's had more of an impact with his team, kind of put the team on his shoulders for a little bit and, has taken off. So I think those 3 guys for sure. It'll probably come down to Zach Cleveland again, probably the front runner for such a great year that Liberty's had. But look out for those 2 guys as well, and Mustafa and Tegan Moore.
I don't think it's any surprise about what I'm about to say because I also say this like every week. I think it definitely will come down to Kamen Beckemeyer at Missouri State and Rima Collins at FIU. Right now, when you look at what they're averaging right now, Beckemeyer is she's averaging 17.5 points and 8.1 rebounds per game. Like I said earlier, Rima Collins, she's averaging 17.3 points and 9.1 rebounds per game. Just a little note, it is currently the smallest gap between the CUSA scoring leader and second place over the last 20 seasons. So the simple fact that they're even neck and neck and it hasn't been anybody like that in the last 2 seasons is absolutely insane to me. But for them, FIU, Missouri State, they're both in contention for that number 2 seed. They split this season. So I think it is like, if I'm one of these voters and I'm looking at this ballot, I'm also like, I don't know. Like, it's a hard decision. And I think when you look at the team and how they operate, I would say that Kamen Beckemeyer does do a lot for Missouri State. Like, she's always their leading scorer. She's always leading, not always leading rebounds, but one of those getting double-doubles, getting it on both sides of the ball. And I think Rima Collins have a little bit more help with her other players as far as, scoring-wise. But Kamen Beckemeyer does put the team on her shoulders day in and day out, and I think FIU has a little bit of more cohesive, group as far as scoring and rebounding. But I think that way, I think you could think about how to do a vote maybe. But I think these are 2 amazing players, and I think they both could get it. I mean, if it wasn't a perfect world, a co-player of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because, that could definitely happen. I don't want to say that, it is possible. I don't want to say that it will be one or the other. It is possible that if they are tied at the end of voting, it'll be co-player of the year. But I personally can't say who would either go. I think both of these deserve to be front runners. I've been saying that all season. So I think it'll be interesting just to see which way it'll go. And, hopefully they do get what they deserve. And maybe it will be co-player of the year. In a perfect scenario, it would be. But these 2 girls have been doing amazing for their teams and just amazing for what they've been doing each night out. Like you said, travel's hard. Conference games are hard, especially when you're battling at a high level like this, especially when you can be, 12-6 ending this weekend. The simple fact that they don't, play each other and they can't be tied, and we'll see how those tiebreakers pan out for them. But 2 amazing players who deserve that recognition, and I'm definitely excited to see how that one turns out.
Oh, yeah. Well, we are 1 week away from these awards being announced, Monday, March 9th, the day before tournament play starts. So we are certainly excited to see the results and get all out there and watch all these people, compete.
And all these teams and all these coaches.
Oh, yeah.
And all you fans, lovely fans that will be in Huntsville. All right, guys, that's all we have for you today on today's episode of the CUSA Insider Podcast. Like Eric just said, we are posting all of our postseason awards. We have our Player of the Week awards on Sunday. We have our All Academic on Thursday, Friday, maybe? I don't know. But I already start off with follow us on social for the podcast, but follow us on our main page, Conference USA, on X and Instagram for those bracket releases on Saturday after all of our games have completed. Postseason awards come out on Monday. Player of the Week comes out on Sunday. We got a bunch of awards, so stay locked in on our main page. But as always, if you do want to follow us on our CUSA Insider Pod on social, that we are CUSA Insider Pod on X and Instagram. I am literally keeping this alive. I'm not about to mess up. As always, if you're an audio listener, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, follow us on there and follow our visual people. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. But if you want to switch over from audio to visual, go to YouTube, type in Conference USA in the search bar, and look at our podcast playlist. I'm your host, Jessica Radford, and I will see you guys in Huntsville next week.